Outlier customers, you have heard Chris talk about Plan ETF. You've heard him talk about the signals in Plan ETF. You've even heard him tell us how to trade. But having an opportunity to see step by step how he progresses through Plan ETF can be very insightful. So let's have a look. All right. If we look at the signals for Plan ETF, let's focus in on the Qs. Now, TQQQ is the leveraged ETF that he uses, but QQQ is where he gets the signals. So let's hop over to Outlier and see if we can find out if Qs are in an uptrend at the moment. So the first thing we're going to want to do is go to the dashboard, type in QQQ, because again, we need to see our signals based on triple Q. The question is, the uptrend in QQQ, does it exist? All right. The overlay is red. The background is red. That is telling us that the trend is down. We would anticipate the price for QQQ to continue to decrease. We can verify that with the EMA lines. We can see the blue, which is the 10, is below the black, which is the 20, and the price, which is here, is way below the 50. Remember, these are EMA lines. So the color of the background is associated with these lines. So we know the trend is down. We also know, looking at the outlier 9, the trend is red. So it is down. So do we have an uptrend in Q? We do not. We have a downtrend in Q. But let's have a look at the other signals. The triple Q buy signal. All right, we need to remain in Qs. We could hop right up here, right out of the gate, and we could look at our visual indicators for the buy sell signal. It's currently a sell. It's a red S. We can verify by moving from right to left in the chart until we get a buy or sell signal. And which one do we come to first? It's this sell signal. Sell signal received on February 5th. We can also look in the stock details section. The current signal, we know it's swing because we're in swing. The current swing signal is a sell. Again, came on February 5th. Now, as a little pro tip, if you want to know what the current active signal is, you don't necessarily have to switch everything to active. You can get it right here in your stock details page. The current active signal is a sell. It's listed right here as a sell. So both signals are a sell, which it makes sense, right? You can't have an active signal without a swing signal, okay? All right, so we know that the QQQs are currently in a sell, which means the first two signals are already not going in our favor in terms of anticipating a price increase. The next signal, triple Q's heat map. It needs to be under 70, but it does not matter if it's going up or down. So let's look at the heat map. The triple Q's fear and greed heat map is just here in the center of your charts. Now, we would look at the most recent day first, and we would look for this number value right here. We can see that today's value is 37.19. We know it's under 70. 37.19 is under 70. It's a smaller number. Is it going up or down? It doesn't matter. The signal says it does not matter if the heat map is going up or down. But for educational purposes, which is it? Well, we can visually see that it is going down. We can also back that up by looking at yesterday's number compared to today. Yesterday's number was 37.58. Today's number, 37.19. So it's going down. Now again, doesn't necessarily matter for the signal, but it's good to know how to use the tool because the other plans do matter whether it's going up or down. All right. The next signal, the value of the price needs to be between the 20 EMA and 2 ATR above the 20 EMA. In other words, it needs to be in the value zone. Now, you're going to need to use TradingView or Thinkorswim, I'm going to use TradingView for this explanation. You're going to need the Ovtlyr Value Zone indicator. If you don't know how to get it, go over to Ovtlyr Training with Joe and look for this video that says, set up your charts like the pros. In this video, we show how to get the indicator, how to install it, how to favorite it, how to use it. We also explain everything about that indicator. And by the way, the same can be said for all of our indicators. We have the DeepThought indicator, which will give you order blocks. Pro tip, we're going to need to be worried about order blocks. So we're going to need both of those indicators. And this video shows us how to get it. Okay. We are concerned about being between the 20 EMA and 2 ATR over the 20 EMA. So we need to make sure we have the value zone listed. Okay, so you need to hit this show hide button and it needs to be shown. Let's go ahead and turn off the DeepThought indicator just for a second and kind of show you what you're getting with that value zone indicator. And is these lines as well as these vertical color bars. So I'll hide it for just a second. You can see what disappears and what shows. Okay. It says that the price, which is just here, needs to be between the 20 and 2 ATR above the 20. All right. Now, it means in very, very easy visual terms, it means that we need to see a green bar above, well, on top of our candle. See, just here we have a green bar on top of our candle. Same as here, green bar on top of our candle. And then back here, we had a bunch of candles where the Ovtlyr value zone was lit up. We certainly don't have that now, but let's see if we can figure out what these lines are. All right, if we go into our settings for the Ovtlyr value zone, we can see the EMA length is 20, right? We're concerned about the 20 EMA. We're always concerned about the ATR value of 14. That's the one that Chris used in his back tests. We're also concerned about 2 ATR, right? 2 times the ATR. And we're considering the 3 times the ATR as an exit signal. Now, we haven't gotten exit signals yet, but this will be important in a little while, okay? Now, under style, okay, what is the black line? The black line is the 20 EMA, okay? So this line right here is the 20 EMA. We're going to be worried about that, right? We need to be between the 20 and the 2 ATR. And then for interest, the blue line is the 10 EMA. That matches another signal that Chris is concerned about in his plans. We're not particularly concerned about it right now. We're worried about the black line and these lines up here. Okay. We need to be between the 20 and the 2 ATR. So the yellow line is the 2 ATR. There you go. All right. Now what's the red line? Well, the red line is an exit signal. We haven't gotten to exit signals yet, but keep in mind, the red line is one we're going to be concerned about. It's the 3 ATR line. Okay, now, are we between the 20 EMA and 2 ATR over the 20 EMA? Well, we're not. We don't have those green lines, right? But also, we know that the price is right here. This was the closing price on March 20th. Now, I'm recording this over the weekend, so the market is not open. But this price is not above that black line, and it's not below the yellow line. The price would need to be in here to be in the Ovtlyr value zone, okay? Now, let's say it is. Well, what would you do next? Would you trade options contracts of the triple Qs? Not according to the plan, but again, this isn't your plan. This is Chris's plan. You need to adjust and use a plan that you can follow, that you have back tested and that you are comfortable with. You know, there's a lot of emotions in trading. There's a lot of trading psychology that you need to be aware of. And so you need to make sure you can trade your plan. If we look right here, what would Chris do? He would buy shares. Now, he wouldn't buy shares of the Qs, which is what we're using this to get the signals. he would buy shares of the triple Qs, which is a leveraged ETF. So 3x movement of the triple Qs. Now, that means you're trading leverage. If you're going to paper trade his plan, it means there's added risk. You need to understand what a leveraged ETF is and what any leveraged asset is before you begin trading it. And again, I would recommend not using his plan and using a plan that you're comfortable with. Now, I noticed we missed one signal. We got talking about the Ovtlyr Value Zone. We didn't talk about order blocks. Now, in order to get order blocks, we're going to have to turn on the DeepThought indicator. All right, now this blue line showed up and this green line showed up. I'd actually refer to those as bars because they've got some thickness to them. And what the signal is asking is, are there any order blocks less than 2% away from the current price? All right, current price is here. The order block is up here. This is support, this is resistance. So we're referring to this block, and let's do a measure to find out how far away from the current price that order block is. It is about 8%. Well, 8% is much further away than 2%. So that signal would be fine. But the other piece it's asking is at least 30 days old. So we would need to zoom out and find out when that order block started. Way over here on October 29th. Well, the difference between October 29th and March 20th is far more than 30 days. But you can also measure. You can measure from this candle to the current candle, and it'll tell you that it's 97 bars old. So trading days, 97. Calendar days, 142. So if the current price was up in this area, we would be affected by order blocks for this particular signal. And again, you would find Chris trading shares of triple Q as opposed to triple Q itself. And remember, he's going to take this trade at any point that it's inside the value zone. Okay, now we didn't even get through the very first signal when considering trading a leverage ETF called TQQQ. But what about SPY? Well, if we slide over our deck here and we consider SPY, let's open up SPY in TradingView. So we're going to type in SPY and we're going to pick the New York Stock Exchange item here for SPY. We're going to zoom in. We're also going to open up SPY in Ovtlyr. First signal it's asking about is an uptrend in SPY. Well, you already know the answer because you're an Ovtlyr. But you're looking at this color. This background color is red. So you know it's in a downtrend. And you also know from the previous example that the 10 is under the 20. That's a downtrend. The price is under the 50. That's a downtrend. The Ovtlyr 9 signal is red for trend. It's a downtrend. Moving on to the SPY buy signal. The last signal was just here on March 4th. It's a sell signal. We can also see the sell signal here. And remember, these are based on swing signals. So we are in swing signals. And this is a current swing signal for SPY. It's a sell. By the way, the current active signal is also a sell. Okay, so the first two were failures. What about the heat map? The SPY heat map would need to be less than 70. Right here we are. Here's the SPY fear and greed heat map. Watch this value. Today, 38.68. It's less than 70. Which way is it moving? Well, we know it's moving down. Yesterday was 39. Today's 38. But does it matter? No. It only matters that the value is under 70. So this signal would actually pass. For the next two signals, we're back into TradingView. All right, we have SPY. We have our Ovtlyr Value Zone. Okay. Is the price between the 20 EMA and 2 ATR? Let's hide the DT. Okay. Current price is below the 10. It's below the 20. So it is not going to pass. Where would that price have to be? It'd have to be between the 20 and 2 ATR above the 20. So it would have to be right in here. And it would be colored green, just like this, if the price was in there, but it isn't. Now, order blocks. Let's open back up the DT 4.2 indicator and look at order blocks. Let's hide any signals that we don't need. Okay, here is an order block. Right? It showed up as soon as I turned on the DeepThought 4.2 indicator. And by the way, I drew myself a line just so I knew that that was the top of the order block, but you certainly don't have to. All right, now the question is, are you more than 2% away from the order block? Let's measure. Current price to the order block is 6.5%. So yes, we're more than 2% away. And how old is that order block? It goes all the way back to here. On January 12th is when that order block was created. So that's more than 30 days. So yeah, this signal would pass. However, we didn't get to that signal. We got stopped out at the very first signal. So Chris would not trade ETF, the Plan ETF signals. And let's pretend, right? Let's pretend we got all the way through here. All the signals allowed Chris to trade. What would he do? He would buy shares. He would buy shares, not options contract. He would buy shares. And would he buy shares of SPY? No. He would buy shares of SPXL because his back testing tells him that his plan will have a high expectancy and high success rate and warrants using the leveraged ETF SPXL based on SPY signals. And remember, if this price was in the outlier value zone at any point, he would trade it. It wouldn't matter if it was down here. It wouldn't matter if it was up here. He would still trade it, right? So what do we need to be concerned of next? Exit signals. Plan ETF exit signals. All right. Let's see if we can get both of those on the screen. Okay. A little bit less here. Okay. Let's go to the triple Qs. The first exit signal. Now this suggests that Chris has traded, right? He's in a triple Q shares transaction. Now he's trying to see if he should reduce risk or completely sell out. First question, does triple Qs have a sell signal? Second question, is there a bearish cross? All right, here we go. QQQ sell signal. Well, look at this. We have a sell signal on triple Qs. So yes, Chris would sell. Is there a 10-20 bearish cross for triple Qs? Well, it happened a long time ago. It happened way over here. They have been parted for quite a while now, since what about February 3rd? Looks like February 3rd is when the cross happened. So yeah, he would have sold out long ago. For order blocks and close price, we need to go back to TradingView. We need to type in triple Q because this is based on triple Q's signals. We need to look at the value zone for triple Q. Let's make it a little better here. Okay. The question is, did we hit a 30-day order block? Let's open up the order blocks. We are nowhere near an order block. That's way up here. And we already did the measurement. And we do know that it's a 30-day old order block. So if it was up here, he would sell. If he entered this order block, he would sell. Is the triple Q close price above 3 ATR above the 20? That is given to us in the outlier value zone. Okay, the current price is way down here, right? So we're going to have to pretend. If the price was above the 20, so here, all the way to the 3 ATR, he would need to think about selling, right? If he's in this area, he's getting cautious, right? He's watching. If it gets above the red line, which is 3 ATR above the 20, he is exiting. The signal says if the close price is greater than 3 ATR above the 20, he's going to sell. So if he's above that red line, he's going to sell. Let's look at SPY. Hopping back over to Outlier. Let's type in SPY. The first signal, is there a sell signal? We're also going to look at the bearish cross. Is there a sell signal? Well, there is. Look right here. SPY has a sell signal. Look right here. SPY has a sell signal. The latest signal is a sell signal, right? So there's definitely a sell signal on SPY. Now the bearish cross. Let's go back until that cross actually happened, and right here. It looks like on February 26th, the EMA lines crossed. So way back here is where Chris would have sold out of Plan ETF if he was even in it. For the order blocks, we need to go back over to TradingView. SPY. Order blocks, we need to turn on the DeepThought indicator. So we would need to be approaching this blue area to hit the order block. And we already know it's old. We measured it a few minutes ago. So the age would work, and the price would need to be up in this area for us to take the signal. And then we're left with the value zone. Right. The price would need to be between the yellow line and the red line. No, because the signal says the close price has to be above 3 ATR above the 20. That means the price has to be up here, above 3 ATR above the 20. The price would need to be up in here for Chris to take that exit. So what did we learn? Plan ETF, as of right now, March 22nd, 2026, would not be a plan to get into. In this case, you would move to the very next best plan, which would be, who knows it? Who knows it? Put it in the chat. If we look at the slide deck, we can get an overview of the plans right here. We just tried Plan ETF. It was a no-go. So now we're going to move to the right. We're going to go sit in cash. And what does Chris do when he's sitting in cash? He invests in SGOV. Why? Because his broker does not have a settlement fund that earns interest. Well, thanks for hanging out, everybody, and we'll catch you on the next one.